So hello again, audience. Continuing the session, now we have Mr. Ariel and Walter presenting data governance with open metadata integrating OGC CSW services. You have 25 minutes.
Hello. Well, hello everyone. I see a lot of people interested in metadata. That's good. I am Walter Schillman. I am the CTO of CAN Territory and IT.
I am Ariel Antieni, CEO of Scan Territory IT. Rodita? Oh. I see. Yes. We notices the need to integration several tools to manage geospatial and alphanumeric information in a one-size workspace. To achieve this sort of using of data governance toolkit that can adaptate the metadata harvesting component to allow the toolkit to connect with geospatial service standard, for example, CSW. We use the library PyCSW and make it component with open metadata in order to interpret some basic service methods with the metadata toolkit, for example, with Geo. Okay, we provide advice and support to establish methodologies, responsibility, and process use to standards, integration, protects, and store data according to the guidelines of the Data Manager Association, DMI, for standard international for general and administration governance in different institutions or business company, different application. The main object is to application clear rules and try team to make information system agile and scalable at all level. Sorry. That meeting about to develop visualization and report system dashboard, for example, that allow us to generate metric and establish alert for information analysis to facilitate the decision marking the process in squaring the data quality and data analyzer.
Okay. Continuing with the line of the Data Management Association, well, in Spanish it's DAMA. I think it's DEIMA in English. They talk about the data governance lifecycle. Sorry. This life cycle, it's not only a technological life cycle because it includes the process of the production of the files. To at the end of the line, we have the usage and the disponibility of the information. So in all of these steps, we have a lot of work from people and their processes that are containing all of this work together. That's why it's important to have a platform that contains all of the data sources. The ETL processes, ETL stands for extraction and integration and loading processes, to be able to have the visualizations and govern the management organization's data with its lineage and between components and the impact on the change of the flow and its components. Okay, let's talk about open metadata. Open metadata is a set of open source tools and libraries that are designed to support the implementation and management of metadata in a consistent and standardized way. It provides a range of features and functionalities that can be used to create, store, manage, and access and discover all of the metadata. These components work together to provide a comprehensive way to the management solution and can be integrated with different types of systems such as data integration platforms, data lakes, for example, and other data governance platforms. Some of the key features of the open metadata includes, metadata discovery, like I said, and harvesting, metadata storage and management, and the possibility to query some of your metadata. Overall, the video is not playing. Well, it's a video, an interactive video of the platform. Open metadata is a super powerful tool that can help organizations to better manage their metadata and improve their data governance and integration processes.
Open metadata by default comes with the large set connection, the basic connection and specific connection, to allow to harvesting data from database and collects and harvesting to metadata, ETL system, visualizer, stream data system, and ML system and other metadata system. But it's what's not enough for us to address two needs. Okay. By default, Open Metadata has to connect in the PostgreSQL connector, the solver, the necessity before it can consume PostGIS without problem. But this does allow the integration of the specific metadata of each of the layers and specific fields. To it was complex the consuming geospatial information with this context.
Well, in the last slide we saw all the connectors that we had, but there wasn't something super specific about the geospatial information. Well, if I go back a little, we have the Postgres connector, as Ariel said. We have the PostGIS integration, so we can have some tables with a geom column, and the platform recognized that it's a geom data type. But we need something like a little more robust. So what we did, this is a use case that we accomplished. In this case, we are ingesting GeoNode CSW, all of the metadata of each layer into open metadata. So how did we do this? Well, the standard way is to, GeoNode writes in a PostgreSDB and we can ingest it into open metadata. But we lost a lot of information of each layer individually. So, we developed this custom connector that we called, CSW custom connector. This is some zoom into the connector. Basically, we have the GeoNode that has the PyCSW endpoints and API. And inside of this custom connector, we have basically a field mapping where we can standardize the way we want to ingest all this information to metadata, making it available to ingest, for example, the ISO 19123, for example, metadata with this tool structure. And it's made so we can modify it if we want to change the structure and add or delete some of those metadata fields. So achieving this, we made like some super general connector to connect any CSW service to open metadata, and we think it can be adaptable to any Geo web server that uses the standard of CSW. Well, here we have a little peek of the UI. It's open metadata is super simple to use, really. It's like a few clicks. It's super easy. You have, well, in this example, we have metadata services, and we added this metadata CSW. And well, you need to put, of course, the connection details, the strings, if it needs authentication. And it will, at the backend, it has a harvest process that, well, achieve all the information from the PyGeo API, and well, map all the fields that you want to have in the metadata, and it ingests it into the metadata, open metadata. So with this, we can consume data and metadata from any geospatial server. Well, we went like a little too fast, so well, it's like the thank you slide. I don't know.
Gracias, Ariel y Walter. Then audience, so you have questions. Miss Astrid.
So thanks, Walter and Ariel, for the talk. It looks very interesting, and I was wondering, you are showing this CSW consumer, and is there a way that I can automate it, that the CSW is harvested regularly?
Yeah, in the backend of the open metadata, it has an Airflow running. So I don't know if everyone knows what Airflow is, but basically it's an automation framework that enables to make, well, it's basically used to do ETL processes. So basically, it's kind of an ETL because you're extracting data from PyCSW, you are mapping the fields, and you are putting them in the open metadata. So yes, you can create a custom harvester with the frequency that you want. If you want to do it like once a day, once a week, once each X hours, for example, you can do it, yes.
Okay, good. And I have another question. So you were showing the way how you can harvest a CSW, and is there a way to harvest open metadata from other CSWs? So
Okay.
you could be like a data provider or offer a CSW as well?
Okay, okay.
Una de las facilidades que tiene Metadata es poder opinar sobre cada uno de los campos y esa interacción es la que estamos aplicando.
Open metadata has some kind of service to consume, to use, but by default it's not set with the CSW standard. But if you map the this is custom because if you take the CSW, you can transform that information into whatever you want. If your output is like a CSW standard, you can consume it. But I don't know if I'm explaining right, but you can take the CSW and do whatever you want to then ingest it. Doing that, you can also modify the standard. So if you don't modify the standard and you import that information into open metadata, you can like use it as a catalog and also add another things to the metadata also.
Igual la
So
incorporación de metadatos nuevos no sería a través de CSW, por eso es una segunda fase.
So as I understand it, you provide the way in to open metadata,
Yes.
but my question is whether you provide the way out of open metadata as well.
Yeah,
That's what.
you end up with a catalog with the ingested information with the format you choose in the transformation step. So yes, you can like consume it as the way that you design it in the transformation process.
Okay, I understand. Okay,
And you
thank
can add more layers of descriptions and, well, the metadata of the metadata to the open metadata platform, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So now I have to ask you for, can you explain the CSW standard for someone that isn't familiar with the concept and maybe its design principles and his possible drawbacks if there are some of these and a small comparison against other standards for metadata?
Yes, I am. This in auto definition the is standard is contribution, no? This principle in now this standard for use in all system geospatial is this back point. This is processized and now is XML in the service for this load is very big in different action and this is import for regulation for OSGC standard what this allow the no limit the integration different systems for system metadata, no? And don't know this other point. Its principal point, no, CSW is de facto standard, no?
More questions from the audience?
Hi. Okay. Is it also possible during harvesting to have some kind of validator in place, like a schema validation? Not just that the XML is correct, but if it can be validated towards an Inspire schema, for example, or a custom one?
Yes, you can. There is a place, a whole module in the Open Metadata platform that talks about the data quality. So in there you can like write a lot of different tests that works like for indicators, and you can easily see, okay, your ingestion is not right. You have a lot of tests that failed, and also you can query the data directly from the Open Metadata if you want to, for example, take a quick.
And now I'm ruled this no is possible the street more long 400 meters and detects this segment for line measure 400 meters, no? And tie different roulets. It's possible in infinite for this custom in the POSGIS process and XLQ. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
More questions from the audience?
And
Oh,
addition, this of open metadata and no monitoring this service is not verification, no? Pero no this correct conform el correcto armado del XM del servicio del CSW.
It can check the correct build of the whole XML of the CSW, for example.
Eso se encarga el país CSW directamente.
You can manage it directly with the PyCSW.
More questions? And then here I noticed lots of presentations and people interested on metadata. Even the next presentation here will be about metadata, Geo network. So what do you, people that are working a lot with metadata, found as main challenges for make people more fond of metadata, making metadata more widely used, because you know there's all around there's lots of data sets without metadata.
Ah. I'm happy metadata. Uh, this is no, no quiero decirlo más. Es la forma de trabajar ahora para después no hacerlo más.
So you maybe can encourage them to like be super strict with the metadata, with the metadata format, for example, because you save a lot of work in the future. Because if you don't set properly the metadata in the beginning of any type of process, you will end up having a lot of problems. You couldn't find the data. You couldn't catalog, segment anything with the data, and it also helps any people that will use your data to be able to use it better. For example, use it more, because if you have a clear metadata specification, you can easily find and describe any type of data set.
Y también es la única forma de poder automatizar el manejo de datos.
And talking about the automation of data itself, if you don't want to lose quality, you need to have a strong metadata structure.
También otra opción es meterlo dentro del proceso diario de trabajo y que no sea algo extra.
Yeah, a good practice is to welcome metadata to your life and bring it to your everyday processes. So bring this feeling of metadata into your day-to-day works, your day-to-day tasks. So you can ensure that at the end of the day you will have your data super structured, complete, and with the metadata correctly set.
So strengthening the connection between data and metadata, make it more more charged at the moment that you are creating the data, like this. So more questions from the audience. Let me check the time, if we still have. Yeah, I still got pretty much time. So now, the last question. For you all guys as a company, what is the main challenge to make open source software more widely adopted? Because you know there's many customers that are very resistant and like a lot much commercial solutions, that they have this idea that commercial solutions are more reliable and stuff. So this is the question.
You're talking in terms of products, or in terms of adding metadata to the systems?
In general, for the company in general, for like selling your services for people, it's not a question regarding only the subject of this presentation, but in more general.
Okay. On addition metadata or any metadata?
No,
in general?
additionally
Okay.
customers.
Okay. This is a principal object in this valorization for possibly the adaptation, this specific use case. In the particular object, this generate for user in the one platform integration and additional in the backend this any components, no? In this interest, this is facility transfers the documentation and the possibility the escalates the solution in any moment. This this preocuparse.
And we work a lot with trying to explain to the customers the importance of having platforms or systems that can be connected with other ones. I think that's one of the key features of our systems, because, or any type of software, that you can interact with other software or interoperate with any type of module technology, not depending into the language, but you can to work with it in any type of module, software, or anything.
So interoperability is the key.
Yeah.
So thank you all both. You make all Latin America very proud of your pioneering work. Muchas gracias, señor Ariel y Walter. And es eso.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
So in 4 more minutes, the next presentation will start at 12 o'clock.